Hello and welcome to Two Northern Blokes with your host James, and only James today. So I wanted to give a little rundown before the AFC and NFC Championship games coming up this weekend, two very exciting looking games, and I thought I'd just go through them with everyone. Now, in the AFC, we've got the New England Patriots, who are playing an away game at the Denver Broncos. The spread for the game is Patriots minus 4.5, and the total is 41.5. Now, these figures totally make sense to me, I would say. The Patriots are looking amazing this season, and the Broncos have just lost their star QB to a broken ankle, unfortunately. So nothing too surprising in those kind of numbers. If we look at the Broncos, their last appearance in the AFC Championship was in 2015. And do you know who that was against? It was against the New England Patriots. The Broncos won that one 20-18. Now, if you look at the AFC Championship overall, at least for the past 7 seasons, I would say, it's been massively dominated by the Kansas City Chiefs. And in fact, the Chiefs have won 5 out of the last 7 AFC Championship games. Now, their only losses were to the Bengals in 2022 and to the Patriots in 2019. Other than that, it's just been Chiefs Kingdom throughout the AFC. If we look at the Pats, their last appearance was actually in 2019 when they beat the Chiefs. So, big game for both teams, I'd say. Huge game. Like, it's their first appearance in years for most of them. And I think it'll be quite an exciting game to watch, even though we are missing Bo Nix, but I'll get onto that in a short little bit. So, with the Patriots, as they weren't the number 1 seed, we have 2 postseason games to look at the stats for, essentially. I mean, a lot can change from the regular season to the postseason. Players that were targeted a lot, players that had a lot of carries in the regular season, that doesn't always carry over to the postseason. You get certain players that stand out massively in the postseason that maybe have been quite quiet in the regular season. The one for me, I would say, is Ramondre Stevenson. Now, Ramondre Stevenson, so far, over these 2 postseason games, has had 123 rushing yards. He's had 26 carries, and he's averaged about 4.7 yards per carry. As well as this, he can catch the ball also. So he's had 86 receiving yards and averaged about 12.3 yards per reception, which is pretty solid for a running back. Obviously, they might use Travion Henderson in this upcoming game. We don't necessarily know, but I think Ramondre Stevenson is really putting his mark on that running back position. In fact, in terms of just receiving yards in the postseason for the Pats, he has the second most receiving yards of any player. So I think he's going to play a huge part in this game. In terms of the Broncos, they were the number 1 seed. So we've only got 1 postseason game to really look at, and it's their pretty solid performance against the Bills. I mean, both quarterbacks, Nix and Allen, were making a lot of mistakes in that game, but there was a strange standout player from the Broncos. It was actually Marvin Mims, who in fantasy was one of my pickups probably a year and a half ago. I did a strange trade for Marvin Mims, but he had like a career game against the Bills. He went 8 for 8 on receptions. He got 93 yards and a touchdown. Now, that's even more incredible when we think about the fact the entire regular season he only got 322 yards and 1 touchdown. So he's totaled his number of touchdowns and got about 25% of his total regular season yards. So I presume they're going to continue using him in the AFC Championship game, I'd say. I guess anyone keeping up to date with NFL news is more than aware that Bo Nix is not playing in this championship game. He's broken his ankle, and they're going to bring in Jarrett Stidham. Now, Jarrett Stidham, I guess you would describe him as a veteran quarterback. He's been in the league about 7 years. He was drafted in 2019, 133rd overall, by the New England Patriots, interestingly enough. He was a backup to Tom Brady. He made his first appearance week 3 of the season he was drafted. Brady was up against the Jets 30-7. And then Stidham comes on the pitch. He goes 2 for 3 for completions, and then throws a pick six. And the Pats still win 30-14, but that's quite you'd call it, welcome to the NFL moment, I'd say. Now, after his 7 years in the NFL, Stidham has played for 3 teams. He's played 4 games as a starter and boasts a record of 1 win and 3 losses in those games. But luckily for him, he's playing in the AFC Championship, so I wish him the absolute best of luck. And if he could turn up in this game, it would be incredible. His career totals are 8 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, and just over 1,400 yards. So, can he win the game for the Broncos? Yeah, I mean, he can. Anyone can do anything. Will he win the game for the Broncos? I don't necessarily know. And at the end of the day, he's an NFL quarterback. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the world. Technically, he plays in the NFL. He has the ability. He has the tools around him. I think it would be very exciting. It would be a good underdog story if he managed this. They've got a good defense at Denver. And, yeah, it will be a really exciting one to watch. He might get on the stage and he might just completely fluster and he might fall apart and throw 4 picks. We don't know. But I give him a shot. I don't give him a big shot, but I give him a chance. On to the NFC. We've got the Los Angeles Rams at the Seattle Seahawks. The spread for this game is Seahawks minus 2.5, and the total is 47.5. I think this will be quite a high-scoring affair. I'll get into it in more detail in a second, but they both have incredibly electric offenses. This is the Rams' first appearance in the NFC Championship since 2022. Now, they defeated the 49ers in that game, and they went on to beat the Bengals in the Super Bowl. However, for the Seahawks, this is their first appearance in the NFC Championship since they had the back-to-back wins of 2014 and 2015. Now, I would say this is a bigger game for the Seahawks. It's been a long time since they were in the NFC Championship. And on the Rams side, they have that experience that the Seahawks are maybe lacking. Matt Stafford was there in 2022. He led them to that Super Bowl victory. Now, if you look at the standout players for the Rams, there are loads. The Rams offense, you've got Matt Stafford at quarterback, you've got Kevin Williams. The running back, you've got Puka Nacua, wide receiver, maybe some would consider the best wide receiver in the league, and even their running back 2 and wide receiver 2 in Blake Corum and Davante Adams are both incredible. Like, as an offense, in a lot of ways, they do look unstoppable. They've got so much firepower, and even if someone gets injured, they've got backups. They look incredible. If you just look at Nakua's season, he's averaged 107 receiving yards per game in the regular season, and even in the postseason, he's been averaging 83 yards per game. I would say someone that jumped out at me watching the Rams near the back end of the regular season was definitely their tight end, Colby Parkinson. Now, he became a much more used weapon in the Rams offense at the back end of that regular season. And even in the postseason, he's only had 5 receptions. However, he's averaging 18 yards per reception, which is pretty incredible, I would say. All in all, the Rams offense is just absolutely electric. They're a joy to watch. They're high-scoring games, and I really hope this one is as well. On the Seahawks side, I know I've just bigged up the Rams offense, but the Seahawks really do have a great offense as well. They've got Jackson Smith and Jigba as receiver. I've got JSN in one of my fantasy leagues, and he did great for me throughout the regular season. He's been averaging 107 yards per game, and he's got 10 touchdowns this season. It is a slight point of concern that he only got 19 yards against the 49ers, but I'm going to guess that he'll just bounce back in this game, and he'll be very solid against the Rams. It is only recently, I'd say, that the Rams and the Seahawks played quite a controversial game on the 19th of December in the regular season. They had a bit of a strange ending to the game, and I recommend people go back and watch that game because it was pretty bizarre. And that loss will be in the Rams fans' memory. It will be there, and I think it will be in Matt Stafford's memory, and I think he will want to avenge that loss, honestly. My guess in the two games of how these end, I would say with the Pats Broncos, if Drake May doesn't manage to beat a team led by Jarrett Stidham, then he just doesn't deserve the MVP. He needs to completely destroy the Broncos. I think it would be an absolute demolition from the Pats to the Broncos, and I think it'll be Drake May in that Super Bowl final. On the Rams-Seahawks side, I think Matt Stafford's experience will really shine through. He's already been in an NFC Championship game. He's been in a Super Bowl and won it very recently. And I just think Sam Darnold won't shine as much. I think he didn't look great in that last game, and I just think Stafford's really going to step up. As I see it, the Super Bowl final is going to be Matt Stafford versus Drake May, and they're both going to prove why they're there and why they both deserve the MVP, essentially. In terms of what would be a bit more fun, if it somehow ended up being Darnold versus Stidham, I think that would be hilarious, but I just can't really see it. Now, that is my rundown of the AFC and NFC Championship games. I hope you enjoyed a very quick summary. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you just before the Super Bowl.